Good evening and thank you for watching my channel. I will be uploading a video shortly of how I achieved this look today. I wanted to do a video and I wanted to do kind of a get ready with me, but I had already filmed the video without talking or having the conversation about what I wanted to discuss. And then also in that previous video, I kind of had some background distractions going on, and I really wasn't able to address what I wanted to address. Most of the time when I have conversations on my channel, it's either incidents where I've had other conversations with someone to make me address what I want to talk about, or it's something that's heavily on my mind, on my heart. So today I think it may be a little bit or of both. So I wanted to just talk to whomever needs to hear this message regarding relationships and things that happen to you in past relationships. When we go into other relationships, whether it's friendships, whether it's meeting different associates, whether it's having a relationship with your coworkers, you're taking on some kind of baggage from a previous or similar situation. And so I just wanted to talk to you all and maybe encourage someone to let you all know that although you have that baggage, there's someone that's willing to accept you and to love you with that baggage. A lot of times with women, we kind of take on things that were done to us in the past. We carry everything over to a new relationship, and we have the thought process that everybody's going to treat us the way that previous person did, which is not true. Or we think that because of the things that we endure in that relationship, we're not worthy of love, and we are. So I been thinking a lot about my past and just conversations that I've had with people in my life. And I was raised up in a family with a lot of strong women. There were men, but the men were outnumbered. So primarily I was raised with my mom, my aunts, my grandmothers, and a lot of female cousins. And we grew up to be very strong women because our foundation was made or compiled of strong women. And so we've taken that into adulthood, and in the dating world, that can be a little bit difficult as an adult because a lot of people aren't equipped to deal with a person that has a strong mentality. And I wasn't always like this. When I was younger, in my teenage years, I can honestly say that I wasn't strong minded, that I was a person dependent on the person that I was in a relationship with, and I was someone that felt like I had to give my all to that person. So a lot of times in those type of situations, you lose yourself in a sense, and sometimes it's hard to get that person back. I will be 44 this year, and I probably have been a strong-minded person for about 10 or 15 years. And it just came from a lot of heartache, a lot of abuse, just a lot of different things that happened to me. But I try not to take the bad things into relationships with me that came from previous relationships. And although there were people who did some really bad things to me, I don't believe that everybody's that way. So when I meet someone and I start dating someone, I kind of wipe the slate clean and give that person a chance. I don't go into it 100% trusting that person because now with me, you have to earn your trust. But I don't think that everybody's a bad person. I don't go into relationships looking for somebody to mess up. It's hard to know when someone is being genuine with you nowadays because there are a lot of people in the world who dating for opportunity. And I've run into a couple of people like that. Um, and so it's just hard, like after having your heart broken, after being abused, no matter what kind of abuse it was, it's kind of hard to recoup from that. But if you're able to come out of that on top, that's a blessing, and it teaches you moving forward on how to deal with people. It teaches you the type of person that you want. It teaches you the things that you know that you deserve. So even if you were in a relationship where you were trusting in that person, you put your all in that person, um, and you were just trying to be, that chick who just stood behind her man, if it didn't end up the way that you wanted to, even if the outcome was bad, try not to take that into a new relationship with you, and try not to let that change your mind, your spirit, and your heart. Um, Sometimes in life we'll encounter situations and things that we don't necessarily deserve. But I try to look at all of those situations as it's a lesson, either for me directly or for me to minister to somebody else what I've gone through. Um, I'm so thankful to God for just bringing me through everything that I've gone through in my life, because it wasn't all good. And I didn't think that I was going to survive certain things, but I did. I'm here. So I'm very grateful to God for that. And I'm grateful for my support system and the people that I've had to help me along the way. I still look back on those things and it makes me mad, because sometimes I feel like I want to pay that person or those persons back for the things that they did to me. But really, it's not even worth it, because what I have right now, is so much better than all the things that I've been through. And it's like, God, if I had to go through that for you to show me like what I needed, what I deserve, to let me know that I am worthy of love, that I'm not that person anymore that I was back then. So I appreciate those things, and I've grown from those things. And it doesn't come easy. Everything happens over time, and you may be in a situation where you don't have anybody right now, and everybody wants a companion, like everybody want to be loved. But you just keep praying, and God is going to bring you your person. But if you go into it wrong, if you go into it with all of that bad baggage from that past relationship, trying to look for a new person, and you're not giving people a chance, then you're not going to meet your person. I mean, it's okay to have goals in life. It's okay to say, I want this type of person. I want this person to have this type of characteristic. But you have to be willing to compromise with certain things. Now, some things you're not going to compromise on, that, and that's up to you. But if you go into it forcefully, and being stubborn and saying, no, this is what I want, and that's what I said, and that's just what it's going to be, I want the total package. Sometimes you can't see the total, that somebody has the total package, or their potential of having the total package, because you're still comparing everybody to that person in the past. So if you don't do anything, this year should be a year of reflecting and a year refreshing. You're starting over. You're making things anew. You're establishing new goals. You're doing things to better yourself. If you're like me, our children are getting older, and pretty soon they'll be grown, and then they'll be out of the house, and you'll be by yourself. So if you continue to do and say and think the way that you have, you're going to continue to be alone. So it's just, you have, your outlook on things has to be different. Your outlook on things can't be the same as they were when you were 20 years old, 20 something years later. Um, I can't, all I can say is I know that it is definitely by the grace of God that I'm in the place that I'm in. It's not all roses. Life is not perfect for me, but my life is not what it used to be either. And I look at things now from a different perspective. The abusive relationship that I was in, I know that I had some fault in that. Not saying that nobody deserves to be abused in any way. Um, in that though, I wasn't perfect either. I didn't do what was done to me to that person, but I wasn't perfect either. So I was not in a great place, which is why I accepted some of those things to happen to me. Um, but you have to be able to also recognize the signs. And so now when I meet, prior to me being in my current relationship, when I would meet people and I would date people, I noticed I was able to pick up on the red flags a little bit quicker than I was, say, when I was 20 years old. And so my tolerance level is not as high as it was back then, which allows me to know when something is not real or when there's a situation that's not right. And so when I noticed those things, sometimes I was like deep into the relationship. And so it caused problems because it's like, oh, well, you should have said this way beforehand. Well, I didn't know it way beforehand because you just displayed it to me. Um, but since I noticed it, we can just go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for your time or whatever. But I can't, my patience is not there anymore. And I don't have time to play games. Like my mental is beyond that point now. So, but I just noticed, like, just within my circle, which is small, but we talk about dating a lot. We talk about everything, but dating is one of the main things that we talk about, and it's a really transparent conversation. Everybody puts on the table, this is what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing, and I'm trying to change that, and I'm working on that. Because the goal, most people's ultimate goal, is to be married. Um, and if you've been married before and it didn't work out, the goal is to have a marriage that works out. So I'm learning, I'm working on me. I'm not perfect. Every day, is a new day for me to do something different. Every day I reflect on the day before, and I'm grateful to be progressing, whether it's at the stage that I wanted to or whether it's at the stage that God intends for it to go for me. I'm just grateful for it. So if you're out there and you're having issues, and you now with what we're going through with the pandemic, a lot of people go through a depression. um, or if they're in a relationship, there may be some tension in that relationship just because of what we have going on. So just try to be there for each other, and try to be open minded, and try to compromise. Compromise is a very difficult thing for me because I was a single mom for so long and used to just having things my way. So it was hard for me to let someone in and love my kids. And with single moms, it's kind of hard sometimes to let someone come in and discipline your kids. But you have to kind of know, like, is this person good for my kids? And you have to watch them interact. If they have kids, watch them interact with their kids. Because, like, if you not discipline your kids, you definitely not coming in to discipline my kids. So you just got to keep your eyes open. um it's important to not lose yourself in somebody. Like, you can love someone wholeheartedly without losing yourself, and it's okay to make time for yourself. You don't have to always spend time with your partner. And make sure that in you being in love and with your partner, that you're also still loving on your friends and family. You don't want to isolate yourself from those people that were there before you ran into Mr. or Mrs. Perfect. So you just want to make sure that you're being truthful to all of your relationships, and having those long lasting relationships, because that's important. um I wanted to talk about something else. I have so much stuff on my mind, and I try to write it down, and sometimes I'm able to get those videos up, and sometimes I'm not. um I hope that I hope that everyone is learning how to love themselves first, because that's also important before you can give love or expect love from someone else. And a lot of times we say, I love myself. I know I love myself. You know, you say it. And then when you really, in hindsight, when you think about it, you didn't love yourself at that particular moment. So if you're at that point, you know, you have to figure out what things you want to do to improve yourself, or to get to a point to where you are able to love yourself. And for me, a part of that for me is dating myself. I like to go places by myself. It can be to the park. It can be a trip to the mall, to the movies, whatever. It just gives me that time to think by myself with no distractions, um, with no other things kind of clouding my mind. It gives me that free reign to think about things clearly. And so, if you're not doing that, make sure that you do that, because that's very important. Um, I am hoping to strengthen a lot of relationships, a lot of my relationships this year. In doing that, or in trying to do that over the past years, um, I've learned that in strengthening a relationship, it has to be, all parties have to be in agreement to work towards strengthening that relationship. If it's just one person, or if it's just one sided, chances are the goal will not be accomplished. And it's exhausting trying to rebuild and trying to strengthen relationships with people when you feel like you're the one that's doing all the work. So when I feel like that, my prayer most of the time is that God continues to give me that strength to push forward, but I don't want to devote too much time into to where I'm getting my feelings hurt, because I'm human. I have feelings too. So relationships are tricky. Like, no matter what kind of relationship it is, it's tricky, even with work relationships. So I'm just I'm trying to be open to receive, and hoping that God gives me the discernment that I need to read people. And in the past, I've been pretty good at that, so I'm hoping that that continues. I am hoping to get rid of any bad feelings that I have towards people, regardless to what they've done to me, because that's not healthy for me. And I'm trying to thrive, and I can't do that if I'm in a bad place. So that's something that I'm working on within myself. I am struggling to deal with something that happened to me when I was younger. And no matter how much therapy I have, no matter how much I've prayed, no matter how much support I have, it's just that one part of me that is still a work in progress. I get frustrated because I'm at a point where I feel like I shouldn't have to explain certain things to people. I don't need for people to understand. Like, I'm not at that place anymore. I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I'm not at that place anymore. I just need people to understand that it happened, and it happened to me, not anybody else. And so, however I feel is however I feel. Most of the time, I don't want to talk about it. If I do, it's only a small number of people that I'll talk about it with. Um, but it's just a part of me that's just still trying to deal with that. I was young. I wouldn't say I was innocent, but I was young. I was a child. Um, and what happened to me affected my life. It is my goal to not let it affect it negatively anymore. but it does affect my life. Not every day. I have my days, I have my moments. But for the most part, I am not in the same place about it that I was, say, 5 years ago. And so if you've had something traumatic to happen to you, um, and you haven't talked about it, or you talked about it and people kind of swept it up under the rug, that's not okay. You don't have to accept that. You know what happened, and you know that it happened to you. And sometimes in situations like that, you have to distance yourself with certain people and the relationships that you have or had with them, and that's hard. But sometimes it's necessary, because it's all about how things make you feel, and how you make other people feel. Um, so that's another thing that I'm working on. But even with that, I don't think that I let even that hinder me in my relationships, because that's baggage that I try not to take on to new relationships, because nobody deserves that. But it is a discussion that I have, once I get to a point in the relationship where I feel like the relationship will be long lasting and I can trust that person. Then it is some information that I will release. But it's not something that I openly talk about in detail with everybody, and I probably never will. But it's okay. It's not who I am, and it wasn't my fault. And so I know that now. It took a while for me to get to the place where I am about it, but I'm here. Sometimes I waver back to thinking negatively about it, but I never stay in that place for long. So if there's something that you experience that takes you to a dark place, um, the goal is to try to do as much as you can, the best that you can, to get from that place, because you want to move forward and you want to build healthy relationships, um, and you want to be able to know what healthy relationships are. And so that's just something that I realize a lot of people either go through or have gone through. Um, and it's just a struggle to deal with it every day. So hopefully you're dealing with it the best way that you can, like me. But we not taking that baggage on, as much as we can, as often as we can. We releasing a little bit of it off of us, so that we can be productive, so that we can be happy, so that we can be successful, and be happy in love, and just give that positive energy throughout all of our relationships. So that's something that I'm working on, and I will continue to work on. But we are going to speak life into our current relationships and speak life into our future relationships. Just continuing to pray, and asking God to show us the things that we need, not always the way to the things that we want. Um, but that's about it. That's all I have for you all tonight. I will definitely be posting more of these live conversations on my channel, because it's very important to me to talk about things that are hushed in our community, in our culture. So if there's anything that you would like to talk about, like for me to talk about particularly, you can leave your comments and suggestions in the box below. I thank you for tuning in to my channel, and I hope that you all have a great night. Please be safe. Make sure that you've gassed up your cars. Make sure that you've gone to the grocery store. We're supposed to get some snow soon, and not sure how serious it will be. But just you always want to be prepared for the unexpected. I wish you all much love, success, and happiness, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.